Hey, David, thank you so much for doing this. To start off, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Galileo and your role as the marketing operations manager?
Yeah, sure. So Galileo is a telehealth platform. It's a startup based in New York City by the founder of One Medical. And I am the marketing operations manager here, which is a lot of things, but one of them is figuring out which agencies and tools and vendors we'll be working with.
Great. So when we first spoken back in May now, you were personally managing the Galileo website, which wasn't your primary job. Can you describe what that period was like? What are some specific technical challenges like sign-up forms or landing page tests that were consuming your time?
Yeah, for sure. It was tough. When I first joined, our website was on a platform called Contentful, which was very engineering heavy, and we did not really have buy-in internally for engineering support, and getting anything updated was very hard. I ended up leading the charge to get us off of Contentful and to Webflow, which is what we are currently on. And I'm sorry, Dennis, can you hear my dog walking
No, I
around
can't.
in the
I can't hear
background?
you, Doug.
Okay, all right, cool.
I'll cut that out.
Yeah, yeah, after we moved to Webflow, we found an agency that we worked with for the transition, and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with that relationship, but things took a while sometimes, and quality wasn't always as high as we would have liked. And so once that relationship was coming to an end and we realized, okay, the transition has happened, now we need ongoing support, wanted to go back into the market a little bit and talk to some agencies. And that's how we came to meet you guys. In the meantime, it was me doing most changes, and it was challenging to say the least.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. But beyond your own time, how did the website stagnation and the broken forms, like the lack of animations or the difficulty in building new pages, impact the marketing team and Galileo's broader business goals when it came to using the website?
Yeah, sure. The website is the front door for most of our customers, and we had a series of landing pages that had forms that were, I hesitate to call them broken, but they weren't working quite the way that we would have liked. And data collection from those forms was also not working well. And so that was one of the first things we wanted to fix when we started working with you guys. And I think the other thing that we came to find in that time was that when we moved off of Contentful to Webflow, we took a step backwards a little bit. Some of the shine came off of the website, animations, different interactions, and things that we knew we would get back to someday, but never had the chance to during the transition. And that was another big early win, I think, in working with you guys.
Great. And so back when we first started talking, you mentioned your VP was a little gun shy after a challenging experience with a previous agency that sometimes had issues with QA or attention to detail. What were your specific concerns that you or your team had when considering bringing on another agency partner?
Yeah, I think it's hard when you're evaluating agencies when there's so many of them to differentiate, right? And so I think what my VP was most worried about was getting into a relationship with another agency would maybe it was just going to be more of the same, which is again, our first agency was not a disaster by any
Yeah.
means. It was just not quite where we wanted it to be. And so one of the things that I think separated you guys out from the pack was I think your team is very personable. I think that's always helpful. But beyond that, offering sort of a bucket of hours approach for folks who want to ease their way in as opposed to sign a 6 month contract at a certain rate or whatever right off the bat when you don't really have a relationship yet was definitely scary for my leadership. Being able to say, hey, we like these folks, we like their work, and they're willing to give us sort of a way in to ease our way into the relationship definitely helped ease some of those fears.
Awesome. That makes sense. And kind of my next question was understanding why you ultimately decided to work with us. From in our initial conversations, in our approach that really gave you the confidence to move forward with working with us. And you said the bucket of hours was a great way for you to easily get yourself into understanding what our capabilities were. But more particularly, when it came to moving into the growth partner package right after those bucket of hours, what was that light bulb moment that said, hey, this is actually the right fit?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the first projects we worked on with your team was a landing page test that was specific to our small business line of business. And it's actually interesting. We had just done a page for that line of business with another agency earlier this year, and that process was long, drawn out, full of QA issues. Our designer in particular was concerned about one-to-one fidelity with her designs because she would spend all this time coming up with what she thought of as the perfect landing page, and then what we would get back wasn't always one-to-one with her vision. And not to mention it, but it would take a while as well, back and forth with QA. With you guys, it was fast, it was right. There weren't many notes, and when I was reaching out to folks on my team asking for how things were going, how they perceive things were going, my designer was like 100% love working with them. Their communication, their quality, their speed is better than our previous agencies. And I should mention that I think we ended up working with 3 agencies over the course of the last year, you guys being the fourth. Yeah, it's one thing to have a rapport with me or whatever, but actually like the real client here is my designer and in some ways my integrated marketer, and they both love what they saw. So that made my job a lot easier.
Perfect. That's great. So now that we've been working together for a while under the growth partner package, how is your role as the marketing team? How has your role and the marketing team's workflow changed? What does it mean to have a dedicated team in Slack that you can rely on for everything from fixing broken forms to bringing new designs to life?
Yeah, I think it frees me up personally. I was a self-taught Webflow user, which is a big value point for Webflow, right? That like marketers can self-serve, but often what I would find is that I would be working on things for hours trying to figure things out and getting them close. And now if there's something that's not right in my wheelhouse, I just go right to you guys. Whether or not I could do it is irrelevant because it keeps me freed up to do other things that maybe are more important and keep the team running. And I think the other thing that I've found is that now that we have this dedicated relationship, I'm proactively going to my marketers and being like, hey, if you guys have ideas, if you have A/B tests you want to try out, or if you have some functionality that you wish was there that wasn't there, let's go, let's try it. And that sort of creative, sort of blue sky thinking is not something we've had access to in the past. It's always been reactive. Here's a problem, let's go fix it, as opposed to let's try and come up with something new.
Yeah, that's awesome. So now you guys are able to really leverage the full value of Webflow and you really empower the marketing team to make decisions, come up with creative ideas, and churn out new tests to see what different results you're going to get. If you were speaking to another marketing ops manager or say a VP of marketing at a company of say a similar size,
Yeah,
what would you tell them about working with Anna?
I would recommend you guys. I think, like I said, I've worked with 4 agencies so far. Some of them have been US based, some of them have been based overseas, different price points and different pluses and minuses. But I think what you guys bring to the table is like your communication is concise, your work is efficient, it's correct with very little feedback rounds. You guys check all of the boxes for us, and I imagine that for other companies of a similar size, 600 employees, they'll check the boxes for you as well.
Perfect. That's great. I really appreciate you for taking the time to do this customer success interview, David, and looking forward to our continued relationship.